What's up, everyone? Clayton here. I can't wait to talk to you today about passive income and the truth about passive income. You know, there's a lot of gurus online that talk about just do something once and let all this money flow into you for the rest of your life. Well, the truth is much more subtle, much more complex than most internet gurus would like to make it out to be. So I want to talk about passive income, but I think it's important for us to define what passive income is versus what active income is. Now, most of us have been trained since high school, since elementary school, to work for somebody else, to grow up, to work for somebody else, to trade time for money. That's what schools do. They set you up to work for another human being in another office to make somebody else rich. That's active income. You're actively trading time for money. Passive income is where your assets, your hard work for you. And every month cash flow can come in the form of a business or from real estate investing. Now, my favorite way of creating passive income is through real estate investing, buying properties, holding those properties, and every month those properties generate cash flow for me. Now, it is true that passive income exists. I know there are also people on the other side of the coin out there who will say there's no such thing as passive income. Passive income doesn't exist. It's a unicorn. Unicorn, like my little girl. Tell that to my little girl. She'd be super upset that there's no such thing as a unicorn. But the reason I wanted to do this video is because there's a huge misconception about passive income. This is something that those internet gurus are never going to tell you. The truth is that passive income isn't truly passive at its core. There is no set it and forget it, like the Ron Popeil infomercials from the 1980s and 90s, right? Just put a chicken in there, set it and forget it. That's not how it works. Passive income is, however, the byproduct of you putting in the hard work up front so that you can sit back and have those performing assets produce monthly cash flow for you. It is possible, but it is not without hard work. So cash flow from real estate and the tax benefits make it a far superior asset class. And that's why I love investing in real estate, and that's why we do what we do at our company. But where the misconception occurs, especially in the real estate world, if you want to get into real estate and you think, you know, honey, this is great. I'm going to do real estate investing because I'm never going to have to do anything. Well, that is not entirely accurate. Again, passive income is the byproduct of you putting in the hard work, the legwork up front in order to make it happen. But you still have a lot of work to do in the beginning to make this cash flow happen. Now think about all of the legwork that goes into real estate investing. You've got to find a deal, find a property management team, maybe find funding, maybe finding contractors if you're planning on renovating a property, putting all of those pieces together, and then not to mention finding tenants for that property. And then on the back end of that, finding a good accountant that understands real estate investing so you can take advantage of the tax benefits. So after you put in all of that hard work, then the cash flow starts to roll in. But it doesn't end there, because a huge mistake that real estate investors make, especially when they're new, is that they don't nurture their portfolio. So now after you've done all that hard work and the cash flow starts coming in from a monthly tenant, you don't simply sit back and forget about your portfolio of properties. Real estate investing is a lot like a garden, okay? You have to weed and prune that garden. We just planted our garden for this spring and it's flourishing right now during the summer and it looks great. But there's a lot of pruning that goes into that. We planted tomatoes. And guess what? All of those little shoots that come off the base of the tomato plant need to be trimmed off because they're workers. They don't need, they're taking sun from the larger branches up above. You need to prune those things. The basil, making sure that the spinach has proper room to breathe. All of those things come together to make sure that your garden is growing. If you don't prune it, it gets overrun, weeds take it over, the branches fall down, the tomatoes sit in the soil and start to go rotten, bees fly in, ants, and it's a disaster. The truth of the matter is you have to nurture your portfolio because no one else is going to do it. So an example here, you want to keep your eye on the market. You know, listening to this show or listening to podcasts and reading books and keeping educated about the state of the market. I'm looking at this stuff every day. I want to know that real estate is still a really fantastic hedge against inflation, which it is. I want to see what the Federal Reserve is doing. Are they raising rates? What are they doing? How is it going to affect real estate? You know, is unemployment coming to the town where I invest? Or are jobs really going up and up? Great. Are rents going up? Can you talk to your property manager about the next time that you have a tenant in that property or you do a tenant turnover? You get on the phone with that property manager, nurturing your portfolio and say, hey, John, is it time for us to raise our rent in this property? I see what's going on in the market. You're right. You're right. We can raise the rents. Good. That pays off because you're paying attention to your portfolio. You can't blindly turn away from your rental portfolio because you have to pay property taxes. What if you get a city violation for something? Maybe there were some branches and debris that blew into your yard and the city wants to give you a $100 fine. Well, you can't let those things pile up and ignore those because a $100 fine can turn into $200 and $1,000. You've got to take care of those things. Another thing that you want to do and pay attention to your passive income is, do you have a weak link somewhere in your portfolio? You know, if you own 10 rental properties, can you find one that's kind of like the dog in the group that's constantly giving you headaches? Well, guess what? Maybe it's time to roll that one into a 1031 exchange and maybe upgrade, get a better property, or sell that one off and do something out with that money. Maybe renovating your other properties or scoping out other deals. You're constantly looking and shaking up your portfolio. Another thing that you want to do is sit down monthly with your spouse or partner, or if you're by yourself, that's fine, but go over your numbers in a spreadsheet. Make that a calendar appointment. The first of the month, you're going to look at how you did. A lot of times people will lie to themselves about their numbers. You ask any sort of experienced rental real estate investor who's worth their salt, one of the big mistakes that they admit to making along the way is not knowing their numbers as well as they could. This is a huge deal. Very often, young, immature real estate investors won't really know how much they truly paid in maintenance, how much they truly paid in taxes. And sometimes they may have gotten into a bad investment and ended up not making a profit at all simply because they didn't understand their numbers. So make an appointment with yourself. At the first of the month, sit down, go over your numbers, update your spreadsheets. You can use a great software like Landlord Studio. We use it to track all of our properties. We'll have a link below. You're able to get money from your tenants. You're able to organize all of your properties easily and nicely right inside of one software, and it's a great way for you to check in on a regular basis to see how your portfolio is doing. Another big thing is appreciation. We don't really invest for appreciation, but in the markets where we as a company build our properties in Texas and other places, we're always seeing a nice, healthy appreciation. The market continues to go up. That's great. So at some point, you may look at one of your investment properties and say, wow, this property has really appreciated way higher than I anticipated. Is it time to pull some equity out of that property? Pulling some money out by refinancing or home equity line of credit that you could take that equity and buy another investment property. You wouldn't know that unless you're paying attention to your numbers every month. Ultimately, it's your responsibility to pay attention to your rental portfolio and understand your numbers. Passive income isn't passive. It can work for you, but you've got to do some work. If you want to learn more about building passive income the right way, you have to watch our longer video. We've got a link in the description below where we walk you through step by step on how to build financial freedom using rental real estate. Check that video out in the link below or in the card above. We'll see you next time, everyone.